August SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup action is energized by Red Square. Hello and welcome to Zwartkops Raceway for round 2 of the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup, energized by Red Square. Round 1 down in Cape Town was an absolute banger, and we look forward to more of the same here at the home of motorsport, Zwartkops Raceway. The Bridgestone R11 tyres are fitted to all the Kawasaki ZX10R machines, and the riders are ready to do battle. Watch out for the likes of Michael Smith, Graham from Ida, Brian Bontequin, and a name to throw in the hat as well. And your championship leader, the man from Cape Town, Rob Craig. The beauty about this series and what's made it one of the stalwart series in South African motorcycle racing is all the motorcycles are identical. There's Gav Lightfoot from KMSA Kawasaki checking all the ECUs on these bikes. Like I said, there's no advantage to be had in the machinery department. It's all up to the riders. Also on the same Bridgestone tyres for race 1 and race 2. So final preparations being done down in the pits, and we've got Dave who's caught up with Charlotte Archer from SunBet.
Charlotte, first time for you guys to actually be at the track for the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup. Must be very exciting for you.
It's so exciting for us, Dave. We are really excited to be part of such a extreme event. These passionate riders, being at the racetrack sure beats being at the office. These guys are incredible, the speed, the passion. So SunBet are really excited to be on board.
And we are really excited to have you. As you can see, Henk Scaling also very excited to have SunBet part of the racing and to get out there. Peter de Vos, a big name in SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup racing action. Let's hope that he'll be back soon. Gareth Bazano, top contender here at Zwartkops, as is this man, Michael Smith. Watch out for him. This is a track that he knows and loves. This is the man they're all going to try and beat. The number 1 plate, Graham from Ida. He's the man just getting a nice little rub there before the race. Get nice and loose because there's going to be a battle royale as it was at round number 1 down in Cape Town. How is this for a last lap battle? Down to the wire. Rob Craig, the local man, just ahead of Graham from Ida. And that is your championship leader. Across the line, nothing separating the top 4 riders. Going into round number 2 here at Zwartkops. This is the championship standings. Rob Craig on top, David Entercott in second place. So the 2 Cape Town boys on top of the table. Graham from Ida, your reigning champion there in third, with Jacques Ackerman in 4th and Michael Schmidt in 5th. But let's go catch up now with Rob Craig, your championship leader.
Yes, it's feeling good to be back here. I'm really stoked. A little bit of a learning curve on the newer technology. But yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. It's a lot. The facilities here are awesome. The track is in good condition. So yeah, looking forward to a tight race.
Great having Rob Craig back up here and at the top form. I remember racing him around Zwartkops Raceway. He's got a serious turn of pace here, so watch out for him. Another man that is familiar with Zwartkops is Dave Peterson, joining me in the commentary booth as always. And Dave, this is world-class racing, and these boys are not hanging around anymore. There is big rivalries out on this track.
Correct, Rob. As we go out into qualifying, it's all important to try and get on that front row. You see they're trying straight away. Normally these guys mess around a wee bit in practice, but today you can see the pressure is absolutely on these riders to try and qualify right up there at the front, particularly Graham from Rod. You can see not hanging around on the track at all, and just behind him is Brian Bontekoning, who's hanging on to Michael Smith. A la Moto 3 practices, gets a tow towards the end of the session, so it'll be interesting to see how he qualifies with Michael Smith just ahead of him out on track. Commodore pulls into the pit lane, looks over to see what sort of lap times he's done. It's a combination of all 4 practice sessions, Rob, to qualify for the grid.
Speaking of the grid, here it is, a 104 dead there from Michael Smith, ahead of Graham from Idar and Brian Bontekoning, and these lap times are hot.
Beside note also in the 104s, Rob Craig and Teddy Brook rounds up the row number 2 for this race today. Quite amazing from Teddy.
Just behind them, Apana Ganapathy, Johan Leroux and David Enticott there, your second place championship man. He's got some work to do.
Row 4 is Ian Hardwood ahead of Aubrey Marais. Ian Thomas, welcome to the series, Ian. Normally rides in the Bridgestone Superbikes. Good to see him out there. Rowan Oberholzer ahead of Peter Clark and Stewie Christie, the dog doctor, on row 5.
Row number 6 is Travis Nordia all the way from East London, and Henk Scaling, who's finally had his Red Square energy drink and is revitalised and ready for action. Join us after the break for race number 1 here at Zwartkops Raceway. Welcome back to Zwartkops Raceway. The SunBet girls are heading to the grid, as are the riders in the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup, energized by Red Square. And the tension is now starting to build. There is big championship honours on the line here. Graham from Idar used to having it his own way, but Michael Smith, one of the most improved riders over the last couple of years, has come to steal that crown away from him. Brian Bontekoning and Rob Craig. Great to see Safiso Tembe in the house there alongside Marky Mark from Red Square as the riders now line up on the grid. Dave, this is going to be an almighty battle. If it's anything like we saw down at Killarney and Cape Town, we are in for a humdinger.
Absolutely. Don't forget, tyre wear does come into it around this track. It didn't seem to have much effect at Killarney as we go on board here with Brian Bontekoning. Henny, the flag shows us we've got 2 minutes to go. They're going to clear the grid of the Umbrella Girls. The riders will get themselves ready for this all-important race. Round 2 of the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup, energized by Red Square.
Now it's all about the start here. Graham from Idar from second on the grid. He's normally on the number 1 spot, but that time it's Michael Smith. David Enticott, he's got a lot of places to make up here. Can he do it? Going into the first couple of corners, he's got Johan Leroux right next to him and Apana Ganapathy. Decent start there. He's made up a couple of positions. Tight left-hander into the very tight right-hander. It's take it easy, boys. We've got 10 laps of racing to get by. Graham from Idar, then out front, Stephanie Stocks, Kawasaki, Brian Bontekoning trying to make a move on the inside of Michael Smith. Rob Craig, your championship leader, getting outdone there by Teddy Brook. What a start there from Teddy Brook, who's up into 4th place.
Great drive from Teddy Brook as we take a view of the track from a different angle that we normally have a look at going through there. We're on board here with Brian Bontekoning. Oh, he's looking ever so good today. Brian Bontekoning, probably been practicing out on that Suter 500cc Grand Prix bike. Now it's got him flying, hasn't it?
Yeah, now he's climbed on this Kawasaki machine and he's getting himself back into it. Took a year off SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup racing. He's back in it now and he wants to challenge for those podiums. That's what he's come to do. Brian Bontekoning is there to win races. A little bit further back here, Ruan Alberhauser, Henk Scaling, Peter Clark, Ian Thomas. Good little racing all the way through. Michael Smith trying to make a move on the inside. He's come from nowhere to make that move stick. From Midar leaves the door wide open and Michael Smith takes the lead. Now from Midar, does he have the pace? We go on board here with him now. Michael Smith, he proved last year that he has got to turn a pace around here and you cannot let him get comfortable.
Michael Smith, so good on the brakes into that final turn. And let's face it, if it comes down to the last corner of this race, he's got the advantage right there. Looking just behind, we've got good ride going on from Rob Craig, Gareth Poseidon, Teddy Brook, Ganapathy. Big dice going in between those guys.
David Enticott, he's got some work to do there. He's running in about 7th or 8th place at the moment as we go on board with him. Yeah, perfect time. I think that's Gareth Poseidon or Johan Leroux just ahead of him, but kind of in no man's land at the moment. He's got to make up championship points, so he's got to find a little bit extra turn of pace. Michael Smith, check that old school Kevin Schwantz riding style. Leans the bike in with his body, getting the job done. Rob Craig up into 4th place now. Not good enough to hold on to the championship, especially if his rivals, Graham from Idar, are sitting there in 2nd place.
Apana also just getting into a little bit of no man's land right there. He can't let those guys get away in front of him. If he does, he's going to be just stuck out there. You know, around Zwartkops, you've got to be mixing it up with the guys. And look at this, Michael Smith, so fast through turn 1 and into 2 on the brakes. A lot of confidence in that front end of that bike.
I was going to say he's got that front end set up perfectly because he really does jam it in. Ooh, Rob Craig a little bit wide. Gareth Bazano looking to put it on the inside. No space there. There's David Endicott. There's Apanaganapathy, and we know that tends to start the race quite slowly, but mid and end of the race is where Apanaganapathy really comes into his own. Great view here from Brian Bontequinen going into the tricky turn number 4. Those are 2 race leaders up ahead from Vidal and Michael Schmidt, and Bontequinen just losing toe with him, but this is where Bontequinen makes up time. Hard on the brakes. There is no man later on the brakes than Brian Bontequinen, but at the moment actually Michael Schmidt doing the job, getting it done, and from Vidal looks like he's trying hard to keep up the pace, as does your championship leader Rob Craig. Doesn't look as comfortable as he did out in Killarney, his home track of course. Like you said, hasn't raced here in a very long time and just getting used to track conditions at the moment.
I wonder if Graham from Vidal is doing the mathematics in his head for that championship, because there is Rob Craig and he's got Besaidnout all over him like a rash. Gareth Besaidnout will be looking to charge up this field as well.
Brian Bontequinen there sitting in 3rd place. A welcome return to Brian Bontequinen, who can literally ride anything that he puts his leg over, the man goes fast on, and he's back in the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup, and it's great having him, and at the moment on the podium position. Michael Schmidt starting to edge out. Look at those lap times, low 104s from these guys in this race so far. Michael Schmidt is setting a blistering pace, and from Midar, like you said, I think he's thinking championship, because at the moment doesn't have an answer. There's a good battle going on for that 3rd place, between 4th place I should say, Rob Craig, just behind him Gareth Bazano, and Teddy Brook not too far away from that battle.
And just behind them, good dice is going on with Johan Leroux. The dog doctor, Stewie Christie, has charged through the field. He's right up onto Johan Leroux's tail. And just behind them is Aubrey Marais.
Here we go, Graham from Vidal, the number 1 plate on that bike, looking to make it 3 in a row is Graham from Vidal. At the moment, not having the same kind of pace as Michael Schmidt, just edging a couple of bike lengths every single lap. Brian Bontequinen safely and comfortably there in 3rd place. Rob Craig has got Gareth Bazano drooling all over the back of him, and just behind them is Teddy Brook. Much better ride this from Teddy Brook, just improving every time. Ooh, must have been a mistake here from Schmidt, because Graham from Vidal has closed that gap by almost half a second. So just when we thought the race was done and dusted, from Vidal, it is a long race. Fitness, tyre wear does come into play, so maybe Graham from Vidal, we know how fit and the mental strength that he's got, the experience that he's got over Michael Schmidt, who's still very much improving. The checkered flag is out on the last lap, then who's going to take it? Michael Schmidt is going to pick up the race win. Yes, he does. 25 points in the bag.
Unbelievable dice up front between From Vidal and Michael Schmidt. Fastest lap for From Vidal was actually on the very last lap, 104.3, so a very quick lap at the end, and that's why he closed up. I wonder why he left it so late to try and make up that gap. Take a look at the results there. Michael Schmidt, Graham from Vidal, Brian Bontequinen, Rob Craig, Gareth Besaidnout, Teddy Brook, Apanaganapathy, David Endicott, Johan Leroux, and Stewie Christie, your top 10. Can't wait to see how race 2 turns out, but let's catch up with our race 1 winner, Michael Schmidt, on bike number 49.
Didn't get the start I wanted. I got the pole. He took me the whole shot. I just decided in that first lap that I need to take him, because I knew I had the pace to get a bit of a gap and see what happens. So I passed him and made a little bit of a gap, but yeah, fitness caught me at the end, and he came back, so we were close to the line, but looking forward to race 2.
Welcome back to a sunny Zwartkops Raceway. The ice-cold red squares are ready for the riders to do battle now in race number 2. That man looks like he might have lost the championship lead to Graham from Vidal. Rob Craig has some work to do to try and get himself closer to that podium battle. The SunBet girls are on the grid, as is Les from Vidal. There we go. Hello, Les. Can't wear your Suzuki buff on the Kawasaki grid, Les. Please now. We need you to change that buff. Get a SunBet one. Graham from Vidal, number 1 plate then. Stefanudi Stocks Park lines up on the grid there in 2nd place. Michael Schmidt, the man very much to beat here in race number 2. Watch out for Brian Bontequinen, the ever improving Brian, getting more and more comfortable on that Kawasaki machine.
Splendid in his colours, the new leathers there for Brian Bontequinen. Grid is exactly the same as it was for the first race, so we see the umbrella ladies and everybody moving off the grid, go on board here. Back again with David Endicott as we wait for the red lights to go off. Henny the flag will be walking off the track very shortly. There he goes, 30-second board. Wait for that red light to go on and off. From Vidal looks like he means business. A great start from Graham from Vidal. He anticipated that perfectly. Look at that, Rob, he's away and gone.
Yeah, he really has got the launch of that ZX10 machine to perfection. Ian Harwood a little bit further back. Ruan Albahaza going around the outside there of Henk Scaling. Apana Ganapathy not with the greatest start there, trying to make a move on the inside from Radar. This is what he's got to do. He's got to try and disrupt the rhythm of Michael Smith. So he's out front, just ahead of Smith. Brian Bontekonen in third. Johan Leroux with a much better start this time as well. David Endicott trying to make moves a little bit further up. Aubrey Marais also with a good start there. But this is the tactic from Radar. Get out front and try and pull a gap. We saw he had good race pace towards the end of the race, but it wasn't enough. Stewie Christie on the inside there. Aubrey Marais through turn 4. Ooh, gets it a little bit wrong. Little race curve there. Maybe just caught the knee slider. And Apana Ganapathy makes up the place.
From Radar, foot out as you go to the top of the hill. Got the bike well leaned over. Ooh, look at the dices that are going behind. This is a great ride from Teddy Brook. He's right there. He's just involved with Gareth Poseidon behind them. Apana Ganapathy, David Endicott. Not a great start from the Cape Townian, but Johan Leroux, as you said, much better charge this time around.
Travis Nordia, the man all the way from East London, also a much better start there for him. Getting, ooh, Henk Scaling. Gee, I think he's not, if he wasn't woken up before, he's definitely woken up now. Massive high side there for Henk Scaling just behind there. David Endicott coming through. There's Apana Ganapathy. You can always tell by that red visor that he runs on his Shuya helmet, starting to make way now after not such a good start. Brian Bontekonen, love the old school riding style. They're very aggressive style as we go on board here with Brian Bontekonen on the Jaguar Power Products machine. Listen to this bike. Fourth gear, hold it on the screamer.
He's got that thing on the limiter, Rob. He really is riding the wheels off the bike today. Just to mention Henk Scaling with that big slide on first lap. Henk, knowing Henk, he probably forgot to turn on the tyre warmers. He's out there on cold tyres.
He probably did, but we know that he has cleaned his screen at least. David Endicott, he's a man that lost vital points in race number 1 to these guys out front and will drop down that championship standing after a brilliant round number 1. Brian Bontekonen and Rob Craig. Ooh, a little moment there from the early championship leader. He's trying to make moves there. Johan Leroux, also not the kind of start that we would have seen from him. He's got to try and get ahead now of David Endicott and get himself a little bit closer to this podium battle. But Rob Craig just shows you that one little mistake and he's lost 2 or 3 bike tenths. And now, instead of worrying about Brian Bontekonen ahead of him, he's got to defend from Gareth Poseidon.
Gareth Poseidon is on it this time around, but look out front. From Radar versus Smith. Stephen Stocks versus the Privateer. Which way is this going to go? Oh, the brakes. How is that? Michael Smith, he's got such confidence in the front end. But From Radar is controlling this from the front of the track. He knows that he's got to get past to actually win the race.
That's the thing, and like you said, it's very much a start-stop track here at Zwartkops. If you've got that front end dialed, as Michael Smith does, it's going to make those passings just a little bit easier. Apana Ganapathy trying to close in onto the back end of Teddy Brook and make it a 3 or 4-way dice there for 4th place. You can see Gareth Poseidon getting a little bit impatient now behind Rob Craig. He wants to try and make that move and head off after Brian Bontekonen and Michael Schmidt again on the brakes. We've seen Wayne Shelley in his corner this weekend. Ooh, tucks the front there. Manages to do Mark Marquez, save that bike somehow. And Michael Schmidt is pushing on the ragged edge. The lap times are really fast. The tyres, the same tyres they ran in race number 1, feeling a little bit worn, but these guys are putting on a world-class performance. Schmidt right on the back of Fromidar now.
Look at that dice going on behind. It is Craig versus Poseidon versus Teddy Brook. They are flying around this track. Fantastic lap times. There's David Endicott just behind them as they come onto the start-finish straight for the 5th time in this race.
Michael Schmidt, he's done it. Turn number 2, we said on the brakes, that's where he looks good. Fromidar has got to learn to close that line. Michael Schmidt, if he sees a gap, he will take it, and he's made that Bridgestone R11 front tyre just stick like glue to the tar, and he's made a change up for the lead. Brian Bontekonen safe there in 3rd place. Good battle going on for 4th, 5th and 6th place. Good return here for Brian Bontekonen. Solid points in the bag. This will put him up in the championship, but at the moment, Michael Schmidt had a decent Cape Town round, salvaged points at a track he's not too familiar with, but now, at the moment, looking to put 50 points in the bag.
I've got to admit that Graham Fromidar will be working out the maths of this whole championship. It's early in the season, he won't be too worried. And you can see that Smith is riding really on the edge. He's got that bike leaned so far over. But there's that big dust going on behind. Oh, Craig coming under pressure right now. It does look like Gareth Poseidon, and it's good to see Gareth back on form once more.
And what I love about this class, Michael Schmidt was a track day rider a few years ago. Here he is running at top national level at lap record pace around Zwartkops, leading the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup because he's had the platform to do it here on equal machinery. Speaking of equal machinery, Gareth Poseidon gets the drive. Classic Zwartkops move, lines it up on the inside of Rob Craig. Does Rob Craig have enough to fight back? And that is a previous gen ZX10 versus new gen. That's how even these bikes are on board with Endicott. Turn number 4. Bit out of it this weekend, doesn't have the pace, and languishing down there in about 7th or 8th place. He's going to lose big points in this championship.
Waiting for 3rd to make an appearance. There he is. It's Brian Bontekonen. Oh, and look at that dice behind. Craig coming now under pressure from Teddy Brook as well on the Brook refrigeration bike.
Rob Craig just doesn't seem to be able to hold the line. He gets to the apex and the front end just pushing wide a little bit. That's costing him some time. Michael Schmidt, Graham Frommidar's held the pace. So Schmidt's made the move and Frommidar's kept himself right on the tailpiece. Is he going to line up a move here? I don't think you're going to get it. You can see the different riding styles. Frommidar, old school, carry the corner speed. Michael Schmidt, new school, jam the front brake on and get the bike stopped. I didn't think Frommidar would be able to do it there. Frommidar's best bet is carrying the speed here in turn 3, lining it up in turn 4. There is Travis Nordia all the way from East London with the Buco sponsorship. Also, another rider to watch out for, improving every time he goes out on track. Fromidar, is he close enough? No, leg out again. He's trying everything he can possibly to get ahead of Michael Schmidt.
Well, we know the Stefan Udy Stocks rider has got late race pace and he's lining him up on the brakes as they're going to turn 5 at the top of the shaft. No, this time around Michael Schmidt's got him covered, but Fromidar looks ever so confident going in there compared to race 1, in fact.
He does, but Michael Schmidt just digs that Bridgestone front end into the tarmac. It's amazing how he's getting so much grip. Even the lean angle through the left-hander there. We're not used to seeing that much lean angle and that much pace through that tricky left-hander onto the front straight now. We're coming into the final stages, and this is where Graham Fromidar just uses that experience, uses that racecraft to put the pressure onto Michael Schmidt. You see Schmidt going a little bit more defensive now. Maybe lost a little bit of grip out of those Bridgestone tyres, doing everything he can to hold on there. There's Ruan Albahaz and Aubrey Marais. Brilliant battles all the way through. Again, riders that are just improving their lap times every time they head out on track.
They're doing 1:07s. In the first race, they were doing 8s, so they've improved 1 second a lap. Now, the laps are winding out. We'll take a look at the front of the field as we take in the back markers once more, and this is great stuff. As you say, look at Ian Hardwood in the background. Normally he'd be ahead of these guys, so they've upped their game this weekend as well.
Yeah, Travis Nordia, like I said, this is probably his first outing here at Zwartkops, and he's trying to make a move on the inside there of Aubrey Marais, not going to make it stick. So this is brilliant racing all the way through the field, and Ian Hardwood not too far away out front though. Michael Schmidt doing everything he can. We're heading into the final stages now. Only a couple of laps remaining, and he's holding off the charge coming from Graham Fromidar. This is David Enticott. This will be a really good scalp for Enticott if he can beat Johan Leroux at Zwartkops Raceway. That'll be good championship points. And look at Teddy Brook. What did that man have for breakfast? He's all over the rear end of Rob Craig.
And let's not forget, Rob Craig was the championship leader coming out of Killarney. Out front though, Michael Schmidt getting that good drive out of 2 into 3. Great drive, Graham Fromidar taking the wide sweeping line. He wants to get the big drive up the hill. This is the dice further down the field. Travis Nordia. Got Henk Scaling behind him having a better run this time around. He's having a big dice with Peter Clark. On board with Brian Bonderkoning, kind of stuck in no man's land right now.
He is, but he'll be boasted by the fact that he's on the podium again, getting more and more comfortable with that Kawasaki machinery. He rides all kinds of bikes, off-road and on-road throughout the season. So it really is about getting comfortable on the bike, and we're going to see Brian Bonderkoning challenging the men at the front sooner rather than later. Speaking of the front now, it really is coming down to crunch time. Does Graham Fromidar have any answer? Love the screaming of the ZX10 there from Brian Bonderkoning. Ian Harwood, you can't miss him with those brightly colored leathers and helmet and everything. Again, another rider improving every time out. Michael Schmidt looks like 2 or 3 bike lengths there to me. And here we go, Ruan Albahaz, he's pulled away from that battle now. Just behind him is Travis Nordia and Aubrey Marais. So brilliant ride there from Ruan.
And just ahead of him, Stewie Christie, the dog doctor, having a big dice just behind Johan Leroux, but he's holding off the rest of them. That's Aubrey Marais and Ruan Albahaz back at the front of the field. And look at this, these 2 riders, the championship, they both know that this is South African championship time. Michael Schmidt lying 4th in the championship, coming into this event. Graham Fromidar was 3rd. So they're all working it out on the track. Stewie Christie, what a fantastic ride from him.
Yeah, brilliant. Love having Stewie Christie back in the racing. Always entertaining. Speaking of entertaining, this is it out front. And I just can't picture where Graham Fromidar is going to do it. This is his best bet. Top of the hill, turn number 5. But is he going to have enough on the brakes? They side by side on the brakes. Fromidar goes to the inside. This is going to be close. He shoves it on the inside. Puts a little bit of Bridgestone rubber on the side of the leathers there of Michael Schmidt, who closes the door. Michael Schmidt saying, you can keep your number 1 plate for now. I'm going to close the door. That was world-class stuff. Michael Schmidt is not going to give up this lead without a fight.
He wants to trade in that 49 plate for the 1 plate. You can see that. This is 2 riders arguing over the same piece of tarmac. Unbelievable bit of riding from both of them there.
Going into turn 1, Michael Schmidt somehow is still at the leader's race. Fromidar must be thinking, what do I have to do to get ahead of this guy? I've raced against Russell Wood, Greg Dreyer, Dave Peterson. Now I've got this Michael Schmidt character putting Bridgestone rubber all over my leathers. Number 1 plate. He has an action replay. Top of the hill. Fromidar's got the line, leg out. Michael Schmidt says,
take the sparks.
You can have the line. Fromidar's leg's not even on the bike again. Oh, that was so... Fromidar is so lucky there that he had grip and he held on to that. Michael Schmidt leant on him, gave him no room, and somehow held on to that lead. That was close.
We're heading into the final stage of the race. We're going to see the checkered flag coming out shortly. Michael Smith knows that Van Middaal is going to be quick going up the hill. He's going to line him up back on the inside. Oh, a little bit of a slide from Graham. Stephen Rudy Stocks, can he do it up on the inside? No. Michael Smith knows that he's got him covered. Van Middaal foot out this time, but he doesn't have it stuck in the ground like he did the last time around. We're on the last lap, and there is Michael Smith's mechanic saying, here he is, here's my rider coming right now.
Coming down the hill then into the final turn. That one lap board is out. Michael Schmidt doing everything he possibly can. He's almost block passing to the flag. It's going to be Michael Schmidt who picks up the double win for the day. What a world-class battle there from Graham van Middaal and Michael Schmidt. Look at this, Brian Bontekoen. That's Gareth Bezuidenhout right on the back of Brian Bontekoen and to the line. Bontekoen and only just, and Teddy Brook, rider of the day. Got to be a contender for rider of the day. Teddy Brook there in 5th or 6th place.
Let's take a look at the results then of race 2. Michael Smith winning ahead of Graham van Middaal on the Stephen Rudy Stocks bike. Brian Bontekoen, Jaguar Power Products, ahead of Gareth Bezuidenhout, Teddy Brook, Rob Craig, David Endicott and Johan Leroux. What a race we've had here, race 2, a Punnigan apathy. He's applauding the riders in front of him. Great feeling of camaraderie amongst these SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup riders as they pull into the pit lane at the end of today's racing.
Didn't get the start that I wanted. Graham was in front of me. I chased him down. I passed him. We had a humdinger of a race, the second race. I just want to thank Wayne Shelley for helping me this weekend, hopefully going forward with him. And I just want to thank everybody that's here, my family, my dad, and then all of the guys that's watching on the live streaming at the farm, Yaku, Doc Gous, and my 2 sons. Thanks a lot.
So after 2 rounds of action, then it's Graham van Middaal at the top of the tree, ahead of Michael Smith, Rob Craig, Dave Endicott, and Brian Bontekoen. And let's go down to pits then and catch up with your new championship leader. It's Graham van Middaal.
Yes, it was a good race, that very, very close. I didn't seem to have the steam on Michael up the hill, but knew if I could try a real late braking manoeuvre on the second last lap, I could get past and maybe pull a gap. But made a mistake at the top when I did get past. But really good racing. Thanks to the organisers, thanks to all the sponsors. Nice clean track today and nice clean fast racing. Thank you.
Indeed it was. Join us for round number 3 of the SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup down on the 29th of May at Aldo Scribanti in Port Elizabeth. All this SunBet ZX10 Masters Cup action is energized by Red Square.